Hey guys, Red Dog here. If we've got watermarks everywhere, it's because I'm testing some software and microphones, etc., cameras for this pilot episode. So I'm up in Nakhon Ratchasima, northeast Thailand. I've been in Asia 31 years now, so I thought I would throw my cap in the ring, tell you my story on this channel, maybe do a few reactions. This is actually a reaction video. To Dan. Dan has a channel called Thai Talk with Dan, dealing with the very, very sometimes toxic relationships between Western men and Thai women. He's in Buriram, which is about 2 hours northeast of here, or 15 minutes on my motorcycle. I have a son up there, 19 years old. He's also big into bikes, and we spend a lot of time on the track in Buriram and on Korat Circuit, on smaller bikes on Korat Circuit. Anyway, let's see what Dan has to say about women who work in the nightlife industry. By the way, our area is the area that feeds the nightlife industry. It used to be about survival 20 years ago. Now it's purely about greed and profit. Most often, the girls are coerced into it by their mothers and older females in the family. Thailand is, after all, a matriarchal society, despite what people will have you believe. Anyway, let's have a listen to Dan.
I talk with Dan. I think it's been about 17 days since I last made a video.
Lad's been taken out. Me too, many times. I've dated a lot of Thai women, and I nearly lost a business in Tokyo when the Thai woman I was dating, who was running all the payment processing end of things, decided to crash all the websites, turn them off, turn any way to pay off, because she got the ick about something. Yeah, so beware. If you have a mate dating a Thai woman, he will probably go missing in despair for months on end, isolated.
Now, for a little over 1 year now, I've been sharing subscribers' stories about their involvement, their relationships with Thai women here in Thailand, because for the most part, it's an absolute disaster. And
it certainly is, but it's the Thai women who are interested in foreign men that cause all this, because dating a foreign man is not frowned upon, but many decent Thai women won't do it because, whether you like it or not, Thai society, the average guy, the average woman in the street would look at a Thai woman dating a foreign man and presume that she's a prostitute, right? Presume that she's a hooker, a 304. So yeah, it's something that many decent Thai women won't do because it can actually ruin their reputation.
And guys need to be forewarned before they decide to get into some kind of relationship with one of these women.
So, passport bros, be very, very careful. Speak to one of us old boys. We're not all bitter.
Now, before I continue, I want to make it extremely clear that 15 to 20 years ago, guys met Thai women over here and they managed to make a successful relationship with.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. There are many successful relationships that have lasted a lifetime from 20 years ago between Westerners and Thai women working in the bar industry or the nighttime entertainment industry, because those girls wanted out of the industry. You know, they wanted to meet a nice guy who had a bit of money, took care of himself, and could help them financially, but kind of in a normal way, you know? Like they just wanted out of a bad situation, but they had certain standards. They had to get along with the person. And many of those relationships were successful. I myself was married for 17 years to a girl from Buriram, who is the mother of my oldest son.
Them, and it's all been fine, smelling of roses, and they've all lived, well, not all, but the majority have lived happily ever after. However, in this day and age, things are extremely different. Okay? And I'm not saying that your girl's different, because more than likely she isn't.
That's what they all say. My girl's different. She's just a cashier, or she's only been working, dancing around this pole for the last 2 days when I met her. Yeah, these guys make all kinds of excuses to themselves to justify dating a woman in this kind of industry.
Most people lie to themselves, hoping and praying that they've found someone who's unique.
They do. They ignore the red flags. They want a certain thing. They find somebody, and they try to convince themselves that this person is the thing they want. So they'll ignore red flags. That's not unique to Thailand. I mean, that happens everywhere in the world with guys, right? Guys are kind of a bit silly on that score.
Now, I've been living in Thailand for 7 years this month. It's been 7 years. And I've spent the majority of my time around Thai people because I'm halfway around the world. I want to educate myself. I want to learn about the logic here, the real culture here, how people think, how they operate, because that's what I've always been interested in. I've always been.
It's important to do that. And what you'll find is very often you'll hear from bar girls that Thai men are terrible, they're abusive, blah, blah, blah. But let's remember, you get out into the villages and there are young boys everywhere, swallows and Amazons leading that kind of lifestyle. For them to end up as alcoholics, of which there are acres and acres of male alcoholics in Thailand, there's a process that they've gone through. They are, I would say, Thai men is completely the opposite of what certain Thai women say about them. They are the most scapegoated, abused, financially, spiritually, even physically, of all men on the planet. I swear to God, the abuse these guys take from the women, the Thai guys take from the women, is unbelievable.
Been interested in psychology and getting a good understanding of people. So when I come to Thailand, I found that they were not as complicated as people back from my home country in England. Everything here is pretty straightforward. However, the one thing that is not straightforward is the mental illness. Now, guys, the only type of Thai women that you need to be careful about are the ones that are interested in foreigners, because the ones that are not interested in foreigners, which is most of Thai women here in Thailand, they are pretty normal for the most part, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but even walking around with a foreigner as a boyfriend in a relationship is kind of to Thai society. So you're dealing with that kind of personality anyway. Sometimes that's a good thing. A lot of Westerners, a lot of us boys are the same way. Very often it's not a good thing because to break out of that societal conditioning in Thailand is a lot harder than in the UK or in the US, I would say.
The culture is going to be different, the Asian culture, and that's going to be the main differences. But there's not going to be such a psychological mental instability among normal Thai people. But unfortunately for us foreigners, the type of Thai women that are interested in us are the ones that need money. Yeah, they want a better.
This is true, and therefore it's not all about women who work in the nightlife industry. I've been a teacher here before, and so many teachers, they earn good money, they have access to credit, and they will get themselves into some tremendous debt. And then, in their non-wisdom, thinking that foreigners just live in countries where it rains money, they will get with a foreigner to try and help pay the loan off.
Life, and they want to use a foreigner in order to generate that better life
correct.
for them. And then for some of them, they'll just want to scam you, hustle you, just generate quick money from you. But there are a lot of Thai women that are interested in foreigners for what they can get from you. And the problem that we're getting, if you've listened to a lot of the stories on my channel, is that guys are believing that this sweet, nice, butter wouldn't melt Thai girl
There is no such thing as a sweet, nice, butter wouldn't melt Thai girl after the age of about 13 or 14, in my experience. Thai women are incredibly tough. They can be incredibly feminine, they can be incredibly masculine, but one thing they are not is sweet and innocent, and butter wouldn't melt. That's for sure. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. In some cases it is, in some cases it isn't, you know. But
Is normal. She's genuinely fallen in love with this foreign man and she's different, but she's not. And that's what this video is about today. To try to wake up some of you guys right now that are currently in a relationship with a Thai woman and you're starting to look at it and think, hang on a minute, I'm getting more bad than good in the relationship that I'm in. So
yeah, I mean, you meet girls in Pattaya, Phuket, who come from these areas, these farming areas. Then you're getting a tough hooker. Let's not beat around the bush here, right? If you meet one of the girls on the farm who has actively decided not to go into that industry, then you're getting a tough farm girl. Yeah, give me the farm girl any day of the week. They're normally okay.
something's not right. But if you're honest with yourself, the reason why you're continuing with the woman is because she's beautiful or the jiggy jiggy is amazing. So
Amazing.
let's have it right. Violence, narcissism, bipolar. These are three common traits that a lot of these, especially Isan women, have that are mixing in the foreign guy circles that are
I'm 50. I first came here at 19. In all those years that I've lived here for extended periods, visited here, etc., I've never seen an Isan guy clock a Thai woman. I have seen so many times in the village the women hitting the men. And with Dan on this one, I would say Thai women are much more violent towards their partners than Thai men are towards Thai women. That's for sure.
chasing a foreigner. Yeah. These women can be extremely violent and threatening. If you try to leave them, they will either state that they want to kill themselves or they want to kill you. Yeah. In order to try to keep you. The extremes are crazy.
That's a hallmark as well of sociopathy, bipolar, narcissism. That's something I've heard a lot. You know, in any country, threatening to kill yourself if the other person leaves. You know that. I mean, that's a really common thing here. That's I think happened to me 3 or 4 times uh, when finishing relationships here.
They have no worries about grabbing a knife or trying to punch your lights out if you don't follow their way or their demands.
Yeah, stabbed in the chest with a Ford Ranger key. You know the pickup trucks, the Ford Ranger. Boom, straight in here. Over a disagreement about whether I should go to the gym or not because she knows why I'm going to the gym. It's not to lift weights or build muscle. It's to meet women. Quite weird. Most of the men who go to the gym that I go to are criminals, and God knows what would happen to a woman if she ever turned up there. So no, there's no women there. But I ended up with a key in the chest one Sunday morning, and then, and this is unbelievably narcissistic. She called the police to have me removed and told them exactly why she stabbed me in the chest. And she didn't lie. She didn't say I hit her. She told them she was jealous. I was going to the gym, and I said I was going anyway. So she stabbed me in the chest, and she thought that would stand with the police. That kind of stuff is not just a bit of narcissism. That's NPD behavior. Yeah.
Then we have bipolar. Guys, if anybody understands bipolar, it's very difficult to be around somebody 24/7 when you never know what mood they're going to be in. Take me, for instance. When I woke up in the morning, I never knew what I'm going to wake up to. Yeah, am I going to wake up to a monster? Am I going to wake up to somebody sweet? Am I going to wake up to somebody who's depressed? Am I going to wake up to somebody who's super emotional?
I understand him here. My youngest son, who lives with me, I'm a single father, by the way, he's 7 years old. His mother, it was like a lottery every time he come home from work. She could be the most fantastic, demure woman. However, we were dangerously entwined, enmeshed, and that was kind of her doing. She could be like that, or she could storm out the house the minute you get home, disappear pregnant for up to 2 weeks, and completely ghost me. So it's like playing Russian roulette. It's like gambling every time you come home. The times I stopped at the petrol station, just got a coffee, banged Motorhead on YouTube in the car, and just watched that to time it perfectly. So when I got home, I had 5 minutes before I started online work again. I used to do that because I never knew what I would get when I got home. Avoid these kinds of women, guys. It's dangerous.
I never knew what I was going to get, but I can honestly state at least 90% of the time I knew that it wasn't going to be good. And who the hell wants to live with someone like that who can be so unstable?
Nobody. She was a definite 10. 100% she was a 10. Oh, we can't say 10, so she was a 9, right? And in the end, I couldn't deal with it. I had to walk away from it. I took my son, though, but I had to walk away from it.
And bipolar seems to be absolutely rife here, guys, from my own analysis from the women that I've met. Bipolar seems to be a real big problem, but it's not the main problem. The main problem is the next one. Narcissism.
That's true. And I'm sure after being in a relationship with one of these girls from the nightlife industry, many guys didn't know what narcissism was. So they start Googling behavior and they soon found out. Remember, we have Pattaya Flyers Club, I think they call it, or High Flyers Club. There is no serial killer throwing these guys off balconies, yeah? People jump off balconies at the rate of one or two a week from what I've seen. He's always in the news. He's always in Pattaya. It's not in Udon Thani. It's not in Royet. It's not in Chiang Mai. It's in Pattaya. And they say very often if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, that relationship has, it could easily end up in a murder of the abusive partner or the suicide of the victim. And I would put all my money on the reason for these suicides in Pattaya are that these guys have been involved with highly narcissistic women, not highly narcissistic women that would be diagnosed with NPD. I would say that's absolutely certain and a safe bet.
Yeah, the narcissistic parasite. This is the scary one, guys. If you don't understand about narcissism, then jump on YouTube, type it in if you can spell it, and research it a lot.
Do it. What would be interesting for a lot of you new guys coming here is researching narcissism. And there's almost like a checklist for it, right? And these girls will have you checking that list every day. Every time you meet one, you'll see one or two signs. Spend 2 or 3 days with them, you'll probably see all the signs of NPD.
Lot, and especially research it if you've got kids with someone who's got narcissistic qualities, because your life is going to be like a living hell if you stick around for your kid or your kids.
That's true, but I would say these women working in the nightlife industry, many of them, their goal is to live abroad. So you stand a high, if you stick with it and you're unfortunate enough to have a child with one of these women, she'll be on the plane soon enough. She won't want to know the child.
Since I started this channel, I've spoke to a lot of guys that are in similar situations to myself. I've spoke to a lot of guys which I was shocked about that are here in Thailand as single parents where the woman's decided to just care about herself because
I was one of those guys that spoke to Dan. We were going to do an interview on his channel, and then we ended up in the middle of Songkran in Buriram having a cracking time. But yeah, he's talking about me and people like me.
another problem is selfishness that we have here. This is a major problem. They can be extremely selfish, even to the point where they put themselves above their kids.
Always, I would say. The amount of children running around in villages, basically abandoned with their grandparents, um, and having basically nothing sent back. Like I said before, these girls are wandering around with, €1,000, I think it costs here, €1,000 tit jobs, €1,000 handbags, £100 a shot, Botox lips, blah, 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 all the rest of it. And they are sending an absolute pittance back home. Girls 20 years ago used to send more money back, not even as a percentage. They used to send more total money back to their families than they do now. Again, narcissism, breadcrumbing the family.
Which is quite scary and it's mind boggling to get your head around. But it's true. There's a lot of single fathers here in Thailand.
Yeah, and they're not all foreign guys. I know a huge amount of Thai men who are single fathers, and these women would have you believe, oh, my ex-husband, he's abusive, he's an alcoholic, he used to beat me up. So why did you leave the children with him? It's all bullshit. I'm one of those people, by the way. I go back to the village one time after she'd disappeared, and everybody's looking at me differently. I'm like, these were all my friends before. Why are all these Thai people staring me down, looking at me like I'm crazy? And later I find out that I'm an alcoholic. I don't drink, right? I'm an alcoholic and I've been beating her up and blah, 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 blah. Never touched her in my life. I've only been on the receiving end of it, yeah? So, huge amount of narcissism. I think in Thailand, very often it ends with a lot of single fathers here. And Thai men definitely included. So many of them.
So, if you get with a bad Thai woman, they will make your life a living hell if you allow them to. And if you don't have children to that Thai woman, then if they're causing you problems, just get out. Block them on every level, social media, line, WhatsApp, even get out of the same province, because they just won't stop, guys. It's
I would agree with that, and I'm going to leave this here. It's just a short pilot episode. Yeah, I would agree with that. If you are seeing the signs of narcissism, bipolar, you're on the receiving end of any kind of physical violence, even if you're on the receiving end of being ghosted and things like this, you do know what these girls are up to when they ghost you, right? If you don't have children, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out, find somebody else. Or don't find anybody. Just go to the gym, eat clean, and don't drink. Work on yourself. Find somebody better. Meet a nice Japanese or Singaporean in Bangkok, maybe. But for me, no, I'm done. I'm done with the local girls. They're not for me. Okay, if you like this episode, subscribe and I will put some more together. It won't always be reactions. There'll be lots of stuff to see on here. Places that maybe some of the younger guys or the more recent guys don't know about. Remember, I've been here 31 years. I've got a lot to show you, a lot to speak about. Been through a lot. Been a professional here. I've been a farmer here. I've run businesses here. And crucially, I'm a father here. So leave your comments, let me know what you think, and I'll speak to you soon.